So what are actually the signs that you're ready to learn that second programming language? Shout out to Woody. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name. I think it was really relevant, because we talked about you want to focus on one programming language and you don't want to jump over to another language until you've gone really far in depth with that one. And then any language you learn after that will be significantly faster and you'll have a solid basis to work off of. So naturally, the next question that came up was, how do I actually know I'm ready to learn my second or even third programming language, right? So I know I said that I was going to go right into technical, how I would learn C#, but I really wanted to address this question first. Really important. So the way that you know that you are ready, it's pretty simple, actually. The way that you know that you're ready for another language is that you've reached a point in your current language to where you could pretty much figure out how to do anything that that you're trying to do relatively quickly, like maybe in like 10 minutes or less, let's just say, right? Because what you'll notice about these languages is there's certain libraries that you're going to use a lot, and you're going to know, like, okay, if I'm trying to do this, then I need to use this library. If I'm trying to do that, I need to use that library. And eventually you get to a point where even if you don't know what library to use, you can just Google it and you can figure it out, right? So for example, with Python, right, I know that if I want to do anything with making HTTP requests, I'm going to use the request library. If I have to do really low level work with making requests, I'll use URL lib, right? Now, I might not know off the top of my head how to do everything with the HTTP protocol in Python, but I know which library to go to. Now I'm just going to look at the documentation and see how to do whatever I'm trying to do, and I'm going to be able to figure it out pretty quickly. As well, I have a very solid understanding of all the different, data types, the object-oriented aspects of the language, and so now I can use that whenever I need to use that as well. And those are concepts that also apply to other programming languages. So yeah, it's really that simple. Eventually you'll reach a point in your current language where you're not, of course you're still not going to know everything off the top of your head. That's not even the goal. But you know that whenever there's something you don't know, you can find the answer with minimal struggle, shall we say, right? So, and even still, right, some things might be a struggle. I know, I love to cite the guy because this is what he does professionally, right? My friend Josh from Developer Direction. He's been working with C# for years and years in a professional setting, right? For companies and stuff like that. And even he says there's so much to C# that he doesn't know, like no one even knows, like, but half of the stuff pretty much, because there's so much to it, right? So don't even think that you have to know everything about a language or how to do everything with a language, but eventually you get to the point where, like, if you were tasked with building a certain thing in that language, you'd be able to figure it out, and you know that you can figure it out, and it's not going to take you like a month to do it, right? Assuming, you're not trying to create like the next Apple or Facebook or something like that, right? If you're just trying to, anything you would actually need to do, basically. So, like, for us as pen testers, definitely there's not as much. And I would probably even say that since we are talking pen testing here, you don't even have to go as far in depth as, say, like a developer would, someone who wants to be a software developer. They're going to have to know a lot more nuance than we do as pen testers. Specifically for us, I would just say if it depends on why you're learning the language, right? Let's say you learn Python. I would say you learn how to work with the APIs and things like that. Just go, take a coding book, right? And just go through the entire book and do all the exercises. That's really important. You got to get hands-on with programming as well. Same as cybersecurity. Don't be the people that just read the book and don't code. You have to put your hands on the keyboard. That's the most important part. You will run into a lot of errors. Your job is to use Google and troubleshoot those errors, or whatever search engine you prefer. I know some people hate Google here. So yeah, whatever you want to use, but you look it up and find a way to solve the error to get the code working. That's going to help you a lot on the job as a pen tester as well, because so many times we're using tools written in different languages, maybe Python, maybe C, maybe whatever, right? And some of them don't work out of the box. They might error out because it might be really old. It might be using a different tech stack, right? It might have been developed for a different operating system or whatever, and a different architecture. And you got to be able to troubleshoot those errors so you can get the exploit working, right? The people going for OSCP, they definitely understand the concepts that I'm talking about right now, right? So I would say that you really want to focus in on just getting a basics understanding of the language, as far as like, if it's an object-oriented one, go all the way through an object-oriented book, doing all the assignments, building stuff on your own too. Take some time to build something that's not in the book. This is really important. This is where you're going to learn the most. This is where I leveled up the most as a programmer. Is I didn't limit myself to just the book. I know so many people that all they do are the exercises, and they're literally just copying the code from the book. They're not really learning anything. So you want to make sure that, preferably very early on, you are taking it upon yourself to, think of a cool project. Have fun with this as well, right? If there's something cool that you want to build, something that could help you as a pen tester, maybe some automation tooling and stuff like that, build that. Go build it. And along the way, you're going to run into issues and you're going to learn along the way. But eventually, like when you pretty much get to the point where you can build anything that you would want or need to build, and maybe you don't know it off the top of your head, but you can go and you can figure it out, then I would say you are ready to jump over to another programming language. So without further ado, we'll get into the content on the technical side in the next video in this series. But, in addition to learning programming and stuff like that, if you want to get into this field, you're going to need to be able to pass the interview process. So for that reason, I've created my free top 10 cybersecurity pen testing interview questions note sheet down in the description below. Follow the link to get that and start acing those interviews. And if you want to get right into some more technical content on the programming side, I have my Black Hat Python series. Definitely a cool one to check out for those of you that have decided on Python for your first programming language, or maybe your second one. So I'll see you guys right over in those videos. Thanks for watching.